The first thing to do to prepare for a disaster is to have a plan ahead of time. Because if you don't have a plan and disaster hits, adrenaline is spiked, fight or flight comes in, and you can't think clearly in most cases. And so if you have a plan ahead of time that you can go to and execute, that's going to be your best defense. And obviously, some of that depends on what is the disaster. Is it something where you can shelter in place? Is it going to be something you have to evacuate from? There's different disasters, and each one of those is going to have obviously a different plan that needs to be put in place. So I would say look at your area where you live. What are the most common natural disasters that would happen in your area? So for me, it's wildfire in the summer, it's flood and mudslides in the winter months in most cases, or big windstorms, but we don't get tornadoes or hurricanes here where I live, right? So that's not something I'm prepping for. So know what your environment, what natural or type of disasters could happen, and then create a plan of action for those. That's really my best advice, at least in a general situation.
Yeah, I'm thinking, of course, of fire because the fire's in LA, but also we've had 3 times our home's been threatened by fire in the Rocky Mountains. And we have the black and yellow Costco totes with a list taped on top of don't forget these things like medications, your passport. We have, I think it's 4 totes and a couple of backpacks that we can pick up, throw in the back of the SUV and drive out because we've had to do that before. And then we have a couple of totes with family keepsakes. So be ready to relocate at a moment's notice. Within 5 minutes, you're out of your house with just the bare minimum of what you'd need. But be ready to have those basics, basically a bug out tote that'll fit in your vehicle and you can drive away and your family will be okay for a while.
And I'll just add to that on the livestock portion, if you're looking at having to leave and evacuate, just because we do have livestock, there's no way that we could trailer all 29 of our cattle or even get them loaded up in a safe amount of time. Like sadly, it's just not a reality. Our plan is you open all the gates because that gives them at least an opportunity to be able to flee and to get to safety if possible. Now, if we only had like 1 or 2 cows and they were halter trained, that would be a different story. We would know that we would get them in the stock trailer and go. But if you have a herd, it's not an option. So even thinking a little bit about that, like what is the thing that I can do to give them the absolute best chance if we have to leave within like 5 minutes? So it'd be like somebody's grabbing this stuff, somebody's opening the gates, and then and then we've got our route